Hi everyone, I'm Matt from Sportism, and we are really proud to facilitate the book launch of the Autistic Guide to Adventure by Allie Mason. And we've spoken about Allie before. We've done an interview with you on our website. So right at the start of this process. So talk us through the book, what it means, and how much it means for you to get it over the line and get it published.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. It's really, really great to be here. The Autistic Guide to Adventure was first an idea for me back in 2020. So it's quite crazy to be at the point now where within a matter of, days, people are going to be holding this book in their hands and they're going to be able to read it, and all of the work that I and the interviewees and Ella, the illustrator, put into it. It was a long process. I finished writing this book last summer, so that means that it's been almost a year now since I handed it in for it to go through production. And I think it's incredibly exciting to be starting this movement for change, really. I think there's not a lot of conversation at the moment around autistic access to the outdoors, and since handing in the book last year, I've seen a real increase in that conversation online, which is super exciting. And so I hope that the book will contribute to that and will get more people involved than are currently. And yeah, start some discussions around how we can help autistic children and young people to get outside, to get in nature, to access the outdoors and to just have fun.
Brilliant. Well said. So how this is going to work today is, Allie, it's over to you. You've got some very, very kind people who've given up their time to not only be a part of your book, but to be a part of today's launch. So you're going to ask them a few questions and then and find out more about the book and about themselves. And then we'll round it up together with one last question at the end. So let me introduce to the stage Holly.
Hello.
Hi, Holly. It's so great to be able to chat with you face to face.
Yes. So many emails.
Oh, I know. And I think it's really special for us to have this opportunity today and for the other interviewees on the call. But if you don't mind, I'm just going to dive right in with some of the questions that we have for you today. And I've got my little cue cards here. So if you see me looking down, that's why. But I really liked how in the book, in your section around hiking, you talked about how hiking helps you to relax and to de-stress.
Yeah.
And I thought it might be really interesting to give you the opportunity to talk more about the positive impact that hiking has had on your mental health.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do a lot of solo hiking. I just love being outdoors. So sometimes I'm hiking, sometimes I'm running. I'm also a trail runner. And I love camping, and all of those things I tend to do alone because I can do them on my own terms, at my own pace, don't have to worry about keeping up with other people or slowing other people down, and I can just do my own thing. And so I find that to be really deeply relaxing. I will take my phone with me, of course, for security reasons and like connection, taking pictures and things like that, but I'm not usually listening to music or looking at my phone. So it's really a time to kind of disconnect from technology, which I'm at, all day long, like most people, emails, work, computers, things. So it's just a great way to kind of disconnect from all the tech and then reconnect with nature. And I find that just really relaxing and really kind of de-stressing.
That is so awesome. And I couldn't agree more. Like, I think that it is so important when you're getting outside to have that break from your technology. Yeah. I think, that having the chance to take photographs and to preserve memories is really great as well. But there is also such an important space there for getting some time away from a screen. Yeah. And from really, reconnecting with the outside world and nature. So my second question for you is about your favorite hiking adventure not that you've ever had, because I think that is a really tough question, but your favorite hiking adventure that you've been on since you were diagnosed as autistic.
Okay. So I would say it was definitely the Coast to Coast, which I did last
Mhm.
year. So that's an almost 200-mile trail that goes from the West Coast to the East Coast of England. And it was just absolutely wonderful because it was the first time I'd been on a 2-week trip, because I'd usually done shorter trails like the South Downs Way, which takes about a week, the Ridgeway. And it was the first time I'd been away for so long in nature,
Mhm.
and it really kind of deepened that disconnection from technology and reconnection with nature. And it was the first time I was camping the whole time, so we were carrying all of our stuff on our backs. I was staying wild camping some nights, staying at campsites other nights, and I felt like I really connected with nature in a deep way that I hadn't before, and it was very, very special. And now I want to go and do it on my own because yeah, I just want to experience it again. I love the
I
coast to
don't
coast.
blame you at all. That sounds like a really, really incredible experience. And,
Mm,
you know, as you said, going back and doing it on your own, I think is going to be a whole new level, isn't it?
yeah,
That's going to be
yeah,
so,
exciting.
so overwhelming with how majestic everything is. I
Yes,
think that's
yes,
probably the best way to
yes.
describe it.
And I think the magical thing about the coast to coast is that it goes through 3 very different types of landscapes. So you've got the Lake
Mm.
District, you've got the Yorkshire Dales, and then you've got the North York Moors, which are just totally different. So it was just constant change and really lovely.
Yes. I mean, as somebody who grew up in the Yorkshire Dales, I
Ah,
know that that's a very rugged and a very wild
mm,
landscape,
yeah,
whereas the other two have their own very kind of specific characteristics, don't they?
yeah,
Which is really exciting to be able to move between them and
yeah.
experience those along the way. Amazing. So, one last question for you,
Mhm.
Holly. Do you have a dream trail that you would like to hike in the future? It can be anywhere in the world.
I have lists and lists of dream trails. Yeah, I mean, I would like to do some trails in the States. Um, and the Pacific Crest Trail has kind of been on my list for years because I grew up in California, so that part of the country is really special to me. But I don't really have 6 months of my life to kind of put everything on hold and do that. And so I've been looking at the John Muir Trail because that follows part of the Pacific Crest Trail, and it's only a month as opposed to 6 months. So I think that's something that's doable, and I think it would be a real kind of up level in my adventures because of course there are animals there that we don't have here in England. And I think that would be a new and interesting challenge for me. So yeah, I'd like to do something in the States.
Yeah, I think having been to the Pacific Northwest last year for the first time, we were
Mm,
around kind of the Seattle area. It
mm.
is so incredibly beautiful there, but also there are bears. That's
Yeah.
quite scary.
Yeah, I'm scared of bears. Like it's a whole new level of preparation in terms of getting bear canisters for your food and yeah, I would like to experience that, a different type of nature because I'm so used to what I've got here at home.
Yeah. Well, that sounds absolutely incredible. And I look forward to hearing all about it when you eventually do get there. But thank you so much for your time, Holly. It's been really wonderful to chat.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, Ashley. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's really exciting for you to be here. And I have a few questions for you about running, if you're happy for me to jump straight in with those.
Mhm.
Amazing. So, one of the things that I noticed that you wrote about in the book is that you got into running after casually completing a couple of marathons that you hadn't trained for. And I think we need to know a little bit more about that. How did that end up happening?
Yeah, so when I was attending the University of Minnesota, I was diagnosed with asthma at the age of 19. And so my first initial instinct after doctors told me that I would never be able to run a mile was, well, I'll show you, I'm going to run a mile. And so then I ran a mile and then I joined a 5K class where the next step was, run a 5K. And then obviously, and this is me being sarcastic, the next step was for me to sign up for the marathon training class that the University of Minnesota offered. And so I was like, okay. And of course, I didn't realize how much running would mean to me in the future. I also struggle a lot with dyspraxia, where I struggle with balance and coordination. And running takes a lot of core strength and balance and coordination. So I wasn't able to train for it as much as I would like to have trained for it. I ran it. I finished it, which when you're a first-time marathoner, that's all that matters, because
Yeah.
2.2 miles is no joke. And so then as I transferred out of the University of Minnesota and started attending Hamline University, then I joined the swim team, and a lot of the teammates that I had they didn't really like what was called dry lands or doing running or any sort of like strength training above water. And so I was that odd swimmer, because I didn't swim in high school, but I swam in college. That was like, yeah, dry lands, this is my spot. And so then I became more and more attached to running, and again did the same like exact thing of being too ambitious and signing up for a marathon thinking I would train for it, and I didn't. And one of those years ended up being a 90-degree weather day where there's specific flags to indicate levels of weather. And so they range from black to white, where black is it is too hot, you should not be running, you need to get off the course. Red is run at your own discretion. Green is safe. Yellow is, again, run at your own discretion, but on the colder side of weather. Yeah. White is, it is too cold to be running right now, get off the course. So the flags were black that year. Myself that I was not going to be on the bus of people who had to drop out, because more than half the field dropped out. And I told myself I didn't care how long it was going to take me to finish this marathon, I was going to do it. And so my slowest marathon time was 6 hours and 2 minutes, but I feel very, very proud of myself that I finished it, but I will never run that full marathon ever again.
I think you're very right to be proud of yourself. That's an incredible achievement, especially given the weather conditions. And as somebody who also signed up for a marathon on a whim without having done that kind of distance before, but for me it was roller skating, I completely understand that when you start a sport and you really love it, you feel like you can do anything, even if you've never actually tried it before. So I love that story. That's fantastic. I'm going to move on to another question for you. And I remember in the book you talked about having sensory issues around clothing. So I wondered if you could share with us what your favorite kind of outfit is to wear whilst you're running. So the types of clothes and the types of fabrics that you choose.
Yeah, so for context, for those who don't know, I'm from Minnesota, and Minnesota is one of the coldest states in the United States, where I will go running when it's minus 20 outside. Just I like running so much. It just is a matter of, okay, how many clothes do I actually have to put on my body that I can still physically move? So in the weather, like the weather that it is right now, it's about 30 degrees. So I would put on a long sleeve, some running tights, and maybe a windbreaker jacket, but the windbreaker will probably end up getting dumped somewhere. I'll have to tie it around my waist, just because for me, with my sensory issues, I run hotter than a lot of other runners, where a lot of other runners might have to wear more layers than me. But for me, I don't have to wear a lot of layers in the winter, because my body naturally warms up a lot faster, and that can cause a lot of sensory issues if I am wearing too many layers. Like I will start to freak out, almost as if like my body is just can't, I will immediately start to feel it if I am wearing too many layers. So I'll start like by taking off my gloves or taking off my jacket. And then there are times where like I will have to resort to taking off my shirt to only run in a sports bra, in order to compensate for the overstimulation that I'm feeling because of the sensory aspects of wearing too many layers and like the sweat that comes from that. But in the summer, I can only wear a sports bra and a pair of spandex, because that physically for me is body-wise the only type of clothing that I can tolerate, especially if it's over 50 degrees. Anything past that is too hot for me, but I'll still run anyway, because I do really enjoy running. I just will have to pack a lot of water with me in order to compensate for how hot it really is. And especially in Minnesota, it can get as hot as like 95, 99 degrees here. And it's like a dry heat, it's very moist air where like a lot of the times when it is that hot, it is also accompanied by 95% humidity. And so having to compensate of, okay, this is the only type of clothing that I can tolerate, and also I need to have a water pack on me in order to make sure that I'm not getting overheated.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's such an important message for people to be aware of, is that something as simple as the clothing that you're wearing to do an activity can have a significant impact on whether you're actually able to get involved in the first place. So that's really great to have those examples of what you wear in the different conditions and how important it is for you to be able to get out and get running and do what you love, as long as you're set up right in the first place. So thank you so much for that, Ashley. It's been really great to speak to you.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Emily, hello.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, not a problem. I've been on your podcast. It wouldn't be right not to have you here as well.
Thank you.
So I have a number of questions for you as well that I'm just going to dive right in with. And the first one, I think you might find a little bit tricky, but we're going to give it a go. And that is, if you had to choose, what is your favorite part of skateboarding?
Ooh, that is a big question. I think maybe my favorite part would be just the sense of freedom I get when I'm on a board. Like, I think it's almost like when you first learn to like ride a bike and you're like, I can go at speed kind of thing. Like, that's what I really enjoy about skateboarding, is that you can like set your own speed. And also it's just quite nice, like what you said earlier about being like out in nature. Like, it gets you places fast, and as long as there's a nice smooth bit of tarmac, you can kind of go anywhere. So yeah, I think I would say the sense of freedom and the speed of it.
I can relate to the sense of freedom, and I think this is something we talked about on your podcast, in that I love that about roller skating as well, but the speed terrifies me. So I think you're very brave, very brave. But kind of sticking with that theme of favorites, another question that I had for you was, do you have a number one favorite place to go skateboarding? And if so, why is it your favorite?
I would say that yes, I definitely have a favorite place. Usually I would say, like, I like to go out with someone skateboarding. So I think my favorite place would be on holiday in Cornwall in the UK. We go like once a year in the summer, and yeah, me and my sister like to go skateboarding like up and down the lane by my grandparents' cottage, and it's just really nice because there's like a sea view, and it's like a private road, so you know it's going to be quiet, so you don't have to get out of the like way of cars and stuff. And yeah, I just can't think of anything better than like, you know, having my sister with me and having a nice view. So yeah, I definitely say Cornwall, it would be my favorite place. And yeah, private roads are great.
Definitely. I think that when you're participating in a wheel sport, it's really important to make sure that you're not putting yourself in any danger in that way, isn't it? Thinking about pedestrians and thinking about other road users as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the last question that I have for you relates to something that you mentioned in the book, and you were saying that it's really important to have a look at the type of skateboard that you want to get started with. You said, you know, there can be different sizes and shapes and styles and colors. And so I thought it would be really nice if you could describe your skateboard for us and tell us why you chose that particular one.
Sure. So mine is just like a standard like maple wood skateboard, and obviously because I'm a designer, it's got like a really nice like graphic print on the underside. I think that's like one of the best bits about getting a new skateboard, is choosing the design. But yeah, I also have a penny board as well, which is like another option for people if you want to get into skateboarding. I have a bright turquoise penny board with like turquoise trucks and wheels. and it's a lot smaller than like a standard skateboard. And I'd say if you're just getting started, it can be quite a good option as well, just because it is quite small and it's like a softer ride. But yeah, I would say, yeah, it's all about kind of expressing yourself, I think, skateboarding, like through your skateboard and the design you go for. So yeah, I haven't tried like longboarding yet, and that's something that I want to try. There's just so many different like formats you can do it in. So yeah, I think that would be next on my list. But I would say start with either like a standard size or maybe, yeah, like a small penny board, just to get you going.
I think that's a really cool thing about skateboarding, is that you can start on one of those smaller penny boards and then just work your way up. It's almost like climbing a mountain. By the time you get to the top, you're on a longboard. So I think there's similarities there with roller skating as well, in terms of whether you have the inline skates, which are all in one line, hence inline, or whether you have the quads, which are set up with the one wheel in each corner. So yeah, there's just such a variety in wheel sports.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Emily. It's really great to have been able to return the favor and have you on the event today.
No worries, it was good fun. Thanks.
Hello, Alice.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm very good, thanks. You?
Not bad, not bad. Getting a bit tired from all these questions, but I do have a few more for you if you're ready.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, so you're in the book for skiing, and immediately when I thought about what I was going to ask you today, I think that we all need to know, out of all of the different places that you have been skiing in the world, which was your favorite and why was it your favorite?
I would definitely say probably Austria was my favorite, because I really like Austria as a country, and the whole setup there with skiing, and how they got really good trails and paths, and there was lots of good scenery.
Definitely, I agree. I've been to Austria a couple of times and I think the scenery is absolutely beautiful there.
Yeah.
So another question that I have for you, Alice, is I know that you've achieved lots of things and you talk about these in the book with your skiing so far, but what are your goals for the future with your skiing? What would you like to do in the future?
My goal is I'd like to be selected to ski for Great Britain in the Special Olympics World Games, and the next and that's my very sort of big goal. But you have to be selected, and also my other goals are to at the moment I'm in the intermediate category, and I'd be doing very well in that, and I'd like to move up into the advanced category. And the next step for me is at the moment is really trying to learn to parallel ski, because that's something I've been having a bit of trouble with, and to do this slalom course properly and race, which I really enjoy, you need to be in that parallel, because I've been in snowplow for so long, and because how you have to do one particular, at the moment I'm like I'm half parallel, half snowplow, because I'm good at parallel one leg. The other leg at the moment, well, it's very stuck in the snowplow. So I'm practicing on that. So I'd like to be skiing parallel, so I can move into that category. And then we got races starting back again this summer, and then we're going to start going on training with our team once a year. Well, I haven't done yet, and then hopefully another nationals. Yeah, and then if I get selected for the World Games, the next one was going to be in Italy. If I do, or another one in the future, then that would be an amazing opportunity to be part of the Special Olympics World Games. What from few of my team members who've done it, it sounds an incredible opportunity. It's very good to represent Great Britain and the whole experience.
Absolutely. That sounds really exciting. And I do hope that you're going to make it to the World Games. So good luck with your training for that.
Thank you. Yeah.
But I have one last question for you. And I think it would be really great for people to know if they were feeling nervous about trying skiing for the first time, what advice would you give them to help them feel less nervous?
The advice I'd give to people if they're feeling nervous would be like, because skiing is very daunting when you start it, but I'd say like there's lots of ways that can make it a lot better. And I'd say you need to take your time. You need to not put pressure on yourself, and I would say, like, say if you're going on a skiing holiday in another country, I would say definitely like go to like a dry ski slope in the UK or like a snow dome, and try, if possible, have some one-to-one lessons and just get confident with everything. And there you can practice stuff like using the button lifts and everything. And I would say to where you're going, do research. What I know a lot of autistic people like do, I'd say YouTube's a great one. Look at all the resorts. You can also, all the resorts have like cams, so you can see it all live. What I really like doing, looking at that. And I would say go with say if it's your parents or friends or family or a group, go with people who understand you and will be able to structure and support you. And I would say if everything's in place like that, it should go very well. And if you don't enjoy it, then at least you know you've tried it.
I couldn't agree more, Alice. I think it's so important to try things and find out whether you enjoy them for yourself. And I think the advice that you've given is relevant to lots of different sports. You know, if you can find somebody who understands you, who can be there with you to advocate for you and help people to understand your support needs, then that's going to make the whole process a lot more enjoyable, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Alice. I've really enjoyed chatting with you.
Yeah, very nice to speak to you. Thanks.
Awesome. So great to hear everybody's stories and why they're so passionate about sport. Let's bring everyone back in for one final question from Allie. That's all right, Allie?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. And take it away.
Well, now I feel like I'm a presenter on the One Show and I've got all of my lovely guests on the sofa. So I have the same question for all of you, and I'm going to go around and ask based on the order that we answered the previous questions in. So Holly, you're on the spotlight. Here we go. What difference do you hope the Autistic Guide to Adventure and your part in it as well around hiking, what difference do you hope that it will make to the autistic community?
I just hope it encourages autistic people to get out there more and to try new things, because I know that can be, I mean, it's really scary. So I just really hope it encourages people to try something new and to be inspired by the people. I can't wait to read the book. Like, I've been listening to everyone talking today and I'm thinking, oh, I can't wait to get a copy of it because I really want to learn more about everyone else's sports. So I just hope it inspires people to try new things, because in my experience, every time I've tried something new and I've gotten outside of my comfort zone, it's expanded my life in other ways as well. So it's not just doing the sport that you do. It just helps you grow as a person, and it helps you just, I don't know, it's helped me with life. So
yes.
Yeah.
I think that's so true. Transferable skills, isn't it? When you build your confidence by trying something new, whether it's a sport, an outdoor activity, even just going to a new place, that confidence is going to stay with you in all the different areas of life.
Yeah.
I love that. Thanks so much, Holly.
You're welcome.
I'm going to move next to Ashley. I'll repeat the question for you. What difference do you hope that the Autistic Guide to Adventure and your part in it will make to the autistic community?
I would say that I hope that it encourages other autistic people to get involved in sports. There's a lot of misconceptions around like special interests, and there's not a lot of autistic athletes out there. And I also coined the term athletes to encourage autistic athletes that we are out there, we're not alone. And not only can sport be a special interest, but sport can also be sensory seeking behavior in order to like move your body and encourage yourself to be able to get to encourage positive stimming in that way through sport. Because for me, that was my entire experience as a kid growing up, was that I've been an athlete my entire life, and I couldn't imagine not being an athlete. And so I just hope that it encourages autistic people to not only want to move their bodies more, but also to want to be involved in sports if that is something that they choose. And if they don't, that is 100% valid too. And just embracing that autism is a spectrum for a reason. And there's a spectrum of activities that we all can get involved in and embrace and enjoy.
That's such a beautiful answer. Thank you, Ashley. And I think we're definitely going to have to make Autleets a wider thing on social media. We need to start a hashtag or something so that we can follow everybody's stories and find out more about them and what they're up to. Thank you so much. Emily, I'm going to come to you next. What difference do you hope that the Autistic Guide to Adventure and your part in it will make to the autistic community?
Do you know what? I hope it sparks a special interest for someone. I hope that when they potentially read about one of the sports, they think, oh, that sounds like a bit of me, and they go into like a YouTube like black hole and just like enjoy just watching content around it as well as potentially doing it. Like, I think for a lot of autistic people, you know, we really enjoy the research before doing the actual thing, and I'm hoping that maybe, you know, this might be a starting point for like a special interest sort of thing. So yeah, and also obviously encouraging people to just try and get involved. But yeah, if a special interest could come as part of it, I think that'd be great.
It would be beautiful, wouldn't it? I think I absolutely love that. And I think that ties in really well with what Alice was saying around when you're thinking about skiing, you can look online at the different resorts and you can watch the videos on YouTube. And that's so relevant to any sport. And there's so much I should know because I had to read it all before I wrote the book, but there's so much content out there about all of these different activities, even some of the really obscure ones like mudlarking, which I'd never heard. So I think that's an amazing suggestion. Thank you, Emily. So Alice, we come to you. I'll repeat the question for the last time. What difference do you hope that the Autistic Guide to Adventure and your part in it will make to the autistic community?
I hope that the difference it will make is it will show a range of different sports and a range of different autistic people, and show how autism is very diverse, and a range of autistic people like different sports for different reasons, and how a sport can be brilliant for autistic people, especially due to the social side of it, and that there's so many different types of sports. Because as a child, I found the mainstream sports quite difficult, and then I didn't realize like stuff like there's so many disability sports and groups out there, and like finding something like Special Olympics and skiing for me has just been amazing, because one, it's given me that ability to be able to ski and compete, because I really like that competitive side. I like this thrill of skiing and racing, but also to be in a team. And I find it a lot easier to socialize if I'm with a group of people, and we're all a group of people who we all have stuff in common. We all like skiing. A lot of us are autistic or have additional needs, and we do things in a group. So I know when I'm going skiing, yes, I'm skiing, but I'm being part of a group of. We're also socializing, and it open things up skiing, like they can go on competitions and stuff I never thought I would do. And I hope that it shows in the book. But there are you, if you can try it, if it doesn't work, there will be something that suits you.
Definitely. And I think what you've said about being part of a team and a group is really, really special for a lot of people. I know it's something that Ashley, for example, talks about with her running group, in that the community, the sense of community that you have with those people is really special, and something that we know as autistic people, we sometimes struggle with making those connections. So having a sport that you can bond over is really a very, very valuable thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, Alice. And I just want to say thank you so much to all of you for giving up your time today to be part of this event. It's really fantastic, as Holly said earlier, to be able to go beyond the emails and chat face to face. And a special mention to Ashley getting up so early in the morning to be here with us. Really appreciate that.
Yep, I think I can only reiterate what Ali said. Thanks everyone for coming along. It's been great to hear all your stories, and really excited for the book. Ali, how can people, to round it off, how can people kind of get the book, get their hands on it?
Absolutely. Well, the book is available worldwide, which is very exciting. So it's in all the UK retailers, you know, Waterstones, WH Smith, can be ordered via Amazon. Also from the book depository online. That's a great place to order if you're from an international country that's not the UK. And it's worth also mentioning that on the 25th of March, we're going to be having an event at the Waterstones in Cheltenham. And on the 8th of April, we're going to be having an event at the Waterstones in Newcastle. So if anybody wanted to pop along to those, the details are on my social media at Ali Wrote. And we'd really love to see you there. We're going to be doing a Q&A. We're going to be doing a signing. And yeah, anybody who buys the book, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really, really appreciate it.